All right, I am looking at my handphone. So it really proves that it goes to prove that you can't live without your phone because I can't live without this. So I'm going to share this right now to the Facebook groups. And if ladies and gentlemen, you are tuning into us here, either by coincidence or by design, you are watching State of the World with me here, Mr. Ralph Ave. We are broadcasting to you live from Singapore and the United States of America, California. And we are on Facebook group now. We are on live, the Platinum platform, the Platinum platform. And anyone can share this. Ralph, we are on live already. This is part two of our conversation. We talked about, you know, the world, and it is a good morning actually here. The world in Singapore, 11:13 a.m. It is a Friday morning. It is nighttime there, right, Ralph?
Yeah, it's 8:14 p.m. here, California
Yeah,
time.
yeah. So all my guests are younger than me. Whenever the guests come in from the US, I say you're always 12 hours or 16 hours younger than us in Singapore. So Ralph, you're always younger than me. And then the next day you're going to be like 24 hours younger, and then you're going to be younger and younger. I don't know how that works. But, Ralph, it's always good to have you. We talked about state of the world, and it's always such a pleasure to have you. I always want to hear your mind, what you think. I can see you and your community are people that upholds family values, uphold tradition, upholds a particular standard to what you do, and that's how I see you. And I do believe that keeping to a particular standard does give us some form of success at the end, whether it's jobs that you choose or the career path that you take. So this is going to be our take today, however we see it. How is the jobs scenario going to be? But Ralph, you know that during 2020, the pandemic times, a lot of companies did close down. Let's talk about the restaurants, those at the front line, the retails, like the big names like the Zaras, the Mangoes. These companies announce the thousands of shops, retail fronts that closed down during 2020, and they're not going to open up because now they're moving their business online, and then they do see that they can make a lot of profit out there online too, because they have, and they can be profitable because they are not paying rent, they are not paying sales for the salespeople, or they don't have to pay the cashiers, they don't have to pay the overheads. And that's the world we are in right now, and it's not going to turn back. And to let you have some context, Ralph, restaurants did close down in 2020. New ones came up in Singapore. So in 2021, it kind of releases the restrictions. And in 2022, at this point in time in Singapore, we have most of our restrictions freed except for mask. So if you're indoor, you have to wear a mask. And if you're outdoor at certain places like a park, on the roads, you are able to take off your mask. Now, the question is, are businesses going to come back? Because the restrictions are 90% off now. And the surprising thing is, I was talking to my friend, businesses actually start to close down after the restrictions are released. That's because I figured out that these companies were trying to strain itself during those pandemic times, thinking that when the restrictions release, demand is going to come back, people are going to come back. But hey, when the restrictions released, people did not come back, or when people came back, it wasn't enough to cover the losses before, right? People dig into the piggy bank. There were stories on online, like restaurants, they borrowed up to 1 million, 2 million just to sustain the period. And now that the doors are open, they find they couldn't go on because of a lot of things. I mean, it could be there wasn't enough foot traffic, there wasn't enough demand. Prices are going up due to inflation. There's the restrictions in supply. You couldn't get this, you couldn't get this anymore. The timing wasn't right for certain, like a restaurant, for certain foods to come in, because in Singapore, we depend a lot of imports. So there's a lot of disruptions. So for me, I see as I walk here and I have my road trips to neighboring countries, the shops that opened up when it's released, the restriction is released, after like 3 months now, they start to close. I think they were straining their necks, like they're hoping for that last hope. But I think they couldn't make it because the traffic and the revenue that comes in wasn't able for them to cover the losses before or make any sense for them to go on. So this gave me some form of concern, from an economic point of view, because I'm trained in that area also. That what happens to jobs from now? It could be that there are some traditional jobs you still keep, but there are other jobs that's going to go away. And I like to bring this question to you and to myself. What do you see the world is going to be next year? What do you foresee the world is going to be in 10 years and then in 20 years when your children do carve a future for themselves, Ralph?
Yeah, it depends on the person, right?
Yeah.
Some people see the glass half full, some people see the glass half empty. It depends on them. If they want to succeed, they're going to find some way somehow to succeed, no matter what the situation around them is. And some are just going to play victim. Like, I can't do this, I can't do that because of this or that. So to me, the world's going to do what the world's going to do. We can't change it. We just have to adjust to what opportunities that presents itself. A lot of millionaires were made during the COVID because online, right? Online was really popular now. And you had, like, what's that? The crochet makers, that little thread thing. She made millions.
Close. Really?
Because she got laid off her job, and then she, let me focus on this, and sold stuff online, and now she's a millionaire.
Knitting. It's like a knitting, right?
Yeah, it's like crocheting, knitting, and no matter what the situation is, people will find a way to survive. It's just human nature. It's just in us. Unless you want to play victim, there's a lot of opportunities out there. No matter where you are, no matter what you do. Like, where my family's from, in the Philippines, a lot of people say, "Oh, it's so hard here."
Yeah.
And then there's another set of people like saying, "Oh, there's a lot of opportunities here." So it's just a mindset. So for me, I think it's more in the person, really. I gotta, like I said, I always train my kids, say, no matter what, like I said last time, life is hard, but opportunities will present themselves if you just keep pushing yourself forward and following that path. And the main thing is consistency, right? You just gotta keep doing it and keep doing it and keep doing it. Now you're talking from experience instead of that, like, quick get rich schemes that people are trying to do right now. So that's my opinion. Like I said, they want all these things to adjust this world. We can't. For me, I believe that we can't really do anything that the world's we can't really do anything about what the world's gonna do. It's gonna do what it's gonna do. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, Ralph, when are you gonna run for office?
No, I don't even watch the news. I don't even like. Nope.
Yeah, but there's one thing about military or veterans is like, is it a kind of instruction or is it kind of a custom that veterans try not to get involved in politics and current affairs? Is it what is it?
It, it's because some of us have seen the worst,
Mm,
and some of us have seen the best, right? And
mm,
it's like we just want to live. We just want to move on from all this negativity. We just want to
mm,
get away from, not really get away from our past, but use our past as
mm,
something to motivate us to keep moving forward.
mm,
Something
mm,
that, okay, I served my country.
mm,
Um, Now what can I still do for it? Even after you retire, after you get out, let's
mm,
help other veterans out. Reach out to other
mm,
veterans, make sure they're okay. It, Stuff like that. It's a camaraderie that it's you can't compare to anything. The military camaraderie. I don't care what branch you're in,
mm,
because a lot of us serve joint now. There's times where I've served next to a Navy guy or a Marine guy
mm,
or an Army guy, right? And we just have that um personality where we still want to be there for each other. Yeah, we'll tease each other, we'll jab
yeah.
each other, but when it comes down to it, when the mission comes down, we all come together and make sure we're doing our part to help that mission.
Yeah.
So I think that's why we're like we've been through a lot of things that we had to follow certain politicians. We can't say anything, we have to follow orders because it comes from them, right? So I think that's why not all of us, but some of us just refuse to do any type of politics because it's,
Mm,
let's just do it on our own. Let's just take care of our families, take care of our friends, take care of our fellow
mm,
veterans, and just keep moving forward and help each other out.
mm, mm. Yeah. So that experience that you had before, it also impacts on how you see the world, right? Like now, what you say, it really depends on the individual. The world is going to spin.
Right.
It could spin. I mean, this is what we see, right? The world is changing. It to me, it is just like spinning out of control right now. If you look at the news, it can be kind of scary if I look at the news. Like I look at the Bloomberg, I look at the financial news, the crashes these couple of days, and people are saying that even the so-called smartest, but not necessarily wisest, the people out there, they were saying that nobody has predicted the war, nobody has predicted the pandemic, and nobody can predict what's going to come up. There's a lot of saying this is going to happen, but then it went the other way. So you're right, and thanks for that perspective. Even if the world crashes down, there is you and your mindset that let's not play the victim. I like that quote. Yes, another quote from you, Ralph Abe.
Uh,
Yeah, not play the victim, because I think we 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 tend to rely back on, okay, the stories, okay, this is the story and that's why it's like this. But I think we can go against the grain if we make up our mind. And I think you talked about the Filipino people like yourself and your families, and people saying, hey, look at this, there's so much opportunity. And you're right, it's like you're coming to a land or you're coming to a particular place, you're only looking through these eyes to say, hey, people are not wearing shoes, so there's opportunity to sell shoes, rather than they're not wearing shoes. There's no opportunity to sell shoes because people are not wearing shoes. It's all how you see the world and how you see the opportunities. And like the point about let's not play victim. And you're right. Entrepreneurs rise up in the hardest times. And I think, Ralph, if you and I can agree on is it is the roughest times where you see what are the seeds that grow through and break through the ground, right? You can have a lot of seeds that fall onto the ground. Some will, I think it's in the Bible, some will fall on hard ground, some will fall on sand, some will fall on fertile soil. It really depends on the seed where it's going to come up. I mean, you can fall on hard ground, right? But there are cracks within the hard ground. Plants still rise up. And let's look at Singapore. I mean, I think Singapore was doomed to die. I'm not sure, ladies and gentlemen, yourself, you know the story of Singapore and why we are still considered a miracle country if the young people of Singapore has forgotten, because we're doomed to die when we separated from the country called Malaysia. At that time was Malaya. Because we are a little island, if you've been here, we drive 1 hour from the left, from the east to the right. And Ralph, if a lot of tourists who come in, you came here also by your profession. You came here by your profession, right?
Vacation. Me and my wife, we stayed at the is that Marina Sands?
Oh, you were here for a vacation, yeah. And a lot of tourists do not know that this land or this island that is seemingly full and brimming with abundance and excesses. You've got restaurants. You've got I'm not sure how I can explain this or describe this, but it's just tons and tons of shops, tons and tons of commercialism, and tons of availability of choices, and people would think that this is a country full of abundance, but little do people know this is a country just full of poverty of resources, because really we don't have water, we import our water. We don't have any agriculture, we import our food. There's no land for agriculture actually. We don't have fuel because we don't have oil below the ground, and we don't have woods to burn. We don't have fuel. We actually buy our electricity and from the neighboring countries, and oil from the neighboring countries, and we import the water and import our food. And you're talking about survival. And Singapore has made it what it is because it is through the roughest times that Singapore rises up, because we had a very, very rough history. There were a lot of racial conflicts and it was internal turmoil at the time. But of course, the people decided that, hey, enough is enough. Let's move forward. And of course, there were people who really bring this up. And I think you're right. We must remind ourselves in tough times. And there's a local saying that opportunities present itself in the toughest times and the most dangerous times. And I do see that in a macro sense, we are really spinning out of control as compared to my father's and my grandparents' times, because there are more volatility of factors. But you're right. And it does take a certain personality to rise up, Ralph. What do you say?
Yeah, it's you have to look at what's around you and to figure out, okay, what do people need? What's the pain point? What can I feel? So it is a mindset. And like I said, I can't do this because of that. I can't do this. No, you can if you want to.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a struggle. Everything is a struggle. Nothing's easy, especially when you first start. Because they say, like, when you first start a business, only the people closest to you and some of your family members may not believe in you. You have, and sometimes the closest friends you have in business will be a stranger that comes join you on your journey because they believe in you, and they're not even related at all to you. So there's times you just people just have to push through. If they have something that they really want to reach, just
Mm.
keep pushing through, because there's gonna be obstacles in the way. No matter what, no
Mm.
matter what you do, there's gonna be something in the way that will try to discourage you.
Okay, give us an example. And I believe in your career, in the military, and now you're with the federal government, there must be times when you really felt that you can't get out because things are closing in. There's no way out. Um, tell us a time whereby it was difficult, but you kind of rise up.
So, like, I've, as you know, I've made the 1% of the rank, right, in the Air Force. It wasn't easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went through, but I had to go through a lot of schools. I had people telling me, hey, you need to be like this and you need to be like that. I am not loud. I'm very quiet, pretty much introverted, but they wanted me to be this outspoken, loud leader. And I said no,
Mm.
because that's not me. I'm not going to change who I am, and if you like it or not, you do what you need to do, but I'm going to keep pushing through, taking care of my guys, and making sure that my work is still good. That way, when somebody else rises up and they're competing against me, it'll be me over them, because I accomplished more quietly and all they did
Mm.
was talk loudly.
Mm.
So it's a personality too, right? I'm not saying all good leaders are quiet. I'm not saying all good leaders are loud. There's good leaders in both ways,
Mm.
but you have to stay true to yourself.
Mm.
I had a lot of people since I was ever since I went to E5, E4 to E5. They kept telling me, hey, you need to be more out there, you need to be more in front, and
Mm.
I'm like, that's not really me.
Mm.
I don't want to change.
Mm.
But
But so the question, like, if you're in such a situation, people are asking you to change, people are asking you to go into a different kind of mode, right? Like a switch. So how was that struggle? Or how was that struggle? Was there any struggle that,
it,
your bosses wanted you to do it this way, but you wanted to do it this way? Was there a journey of struggle? Was there a transition
yeah,
time?
it was like, am I doing the right thing here? Do I still want to keep
Mm.
chasing this? Do I still want to keep going? Because it seems like everything I'm doing is going against the grain.
Yeah.
But even at times, they told me to do this thing one way and I went the other way.
Yeah.
Turns out the way I went was right.
Mm.
Um, so there's times, yeah, like you say, you have to go against the grain.
So
Because
my question to you is, what does it take for one person, anyone who's listening in, when things are against you, not necessarily in a bad way, but it's just not going with the flow? What does it take to keep at it, just being what you want and not go with that flow? What does it take?
you have to think of your why. Why do you want to get there?
Hmm.
That has to be really strong.
Yeah.
And the reason why I want to get there, because it's like, I have this opportunity. I only have one life. Let me get this. Let me try for this. Let me do my best and make it hard for the people around me to say no. And I
Mm.
wanted to do it for my family, because
Mm.
they've sacrificed so much for me being away, gaining
Mm.
each stripe, that I thought it would be a waste if I didn't even try. So, there was times they would call me a week out, say, hey, you're gonna training for 2 weeks. And then, because this unit, I was gone at least 3 to 4 months of the year. And then on top of that, I was gone for at least 2 months of the year for my civilian job. So they
So half
were,
the time you're just gone.
yeah, I missed a lot.
Mm.
But I told myself, if I missed this much already,
Mm.
you know, there's two ways, right? If I missed this much already, well, let me just stop and, stop trying, just get out.
Mm.
Or let me just push forward and just
Mm.
sacrifice, hopefully tell my family to just sacrifice a little bit more so I can get to where I need to be or where I want to be.
Mm.
But
Yeah. So Ralph is like that strength of character and that strength of determination is what kept it going, right? To keep you at your core, to believing in yourself, believing in a vision, just believing it that this is going to be it. Am I right? It takes that much of strength.
yeah, you just have to know your why. Like trust me, I didn't really. I had a good life, but there was a lot of hardships. Like I said, it was just me and my mom. And since even high school, I was never the best student. I barely passed my freshman and sophomore year by the skin of my teeth. That's what my history teacher told me. So, but even then, like just as an example, I was in a band, and I really like playing the saxophone, but I wasn't really good because I played the violin before that. But I wanted to switch to the saxophone, and my band director told me, she said, as after she saw me like try to play the saxophone, she's like, well, you're playing it wrong. But if I see you practicing every day here, that shows me that you really want to be here, and I'll keep you in this class.
Wow.
Right. So and right then and there, she taught me that if you really want it, you gotta earn it.
Yeah.
You gotta show them that you want to be there.
You got to
And
earn it. Yeah.
yeah, and my senior year, I ended up playing in three of the bands. So all because of her, and all because of what she told me, I applied that to reaching that 1%. So earn it. Nothing's given to you, and show them why you deserve it without saying it.
Yeah, and because we are going to go into a world that is unpredictable, these experience of yours that you shared, it makes more relevance to people listening it, because we don't know what's going to happen. The world is going to spin. It could spin right, it could spin left, it could spin out of control, which it is right now. But yet, I think it is the core and the strength that you find within yourself. And like what you said, a couple of things. The people around you, like you were fortunate to have a guardian, I would call it guardian, or your music tutor, who gave you that kind of words that kind of challenged you,
Yep.
right? And I think it's so important to get amongst right people, amongst good people, amongst people who will make you grow. That's number one, like yourself, believing in yourself. And I think what you say is you've got to earn it. I'm going to bring this conversation to another point, because we talked about earning it. And we're in this world whereby everything is about instant gratification, right? I want this. I want it to be delivered to my door tomorrow. It's all about instant gratification. And because we've got so much apps, I think our minds are actually being massaged in a way that before we were not. Because if we want it now, instant gratification. And a lot of things are, we never knew we wanted it, but the craving came because we were showed that this is better. You know, I want to ask you, in your opinion, about this world of instant fame, um, instant money, instant opportunities that we are bombarded. And I have to say that I'm bombarded with that every day. I mean, the ads that come to my YouTube, like, okay, this is Bitcoin. This is the opportunity to grow your business. You just need $10,000 to do this. My fast track to opportunity has been proven millions of times by my students. You know, you just have to come to my free seminar. You know, I'm bombarded with that every day, right? I just want to find out from you and your thoughts. How does one keep to the core if we are being swung left and right? And this is what the world we're in now. It could be you, it could be your children, it's the young people that's looking at the program, or it could just be like us, you know, the mature grown up. And you know, the thing is that there are Ponzi schemes, and Ponzi schemes are successful. People get away with it because they promise, right? And people who are in there are people who are educated, people who have had a lot of experiences in life. They could be professionals, but people could get away with Ponzi schemes and the con artists because people just wanted something. What do you think about the world that we're going to be facing 10 times, 10x more every day? What do you say, Ralph? How do we stay true to the core, like what you said? Like, we need to be firm, strong, and not waver.
It's your faith and your belief, right? So if your faith, you know, say Christian, right? Both you and I, they were Christians. And what we're what do you call, what we believe in, we have to be strong in that if you want to reach there in an honorable manner. Yeah, you can get rich instantly selling drugs, right? But the reward, the risk and reward is not worth it. You go to jail if you get caught, and then you're ruining all these people's lives. Are you blessing others that way? No, it's not right. But it's instant money, it's instant cash flow, you know, if they become really good at it. But in the end, it's, what did you do? You ruined the lives of other families, and then you ruined your life when you get caught, because now you're spending time in prison, and especially if you have family, now they can't even see you no more, not as if you were free, you know. Or some people like sell their bodies. It's, so to me, as long as you think about it and it's, if it's honorable, then keep going. But if it challenges your values, then there's a time where
Well
you like,
said.
I better.
I think that's the litmus test, right? That's the litmus test. If it challenges your values, it challenges your integrity, that's when you need to make your stand and be firm. I really like that. You know, we're talking about instant gratification and the world we're in. You know, I'm doing my podcast. You know, I just want to get this program out instantly. That's why we are live. You know, these opportunities out there for the next generation, for the world we're going to be in, the state of the world. There's going to be jobs that were not available in when we were younger, right? Like the internet career, being a celebrity on Instagram, um, you know, trying to chase that celebrity on the Instagram. Um, so there are new jobs that's coming up, presented to young people, young or old, just people. Um, and to make it plainly, like I do see people trying to chase that kind of fame. Um, that's why I never call myself an influencer at all. I rather call myself an opinion leader or just someone with an opinion, because it's so dangerous to go into numbers to say that, hey, I want to do this for the numbers. And you know that if you go for the numbers, you've got to bring down your denominator, if you know what I'm trying to say, because you want to meet the masses. And if you want to bring down that denominator, it means that you got to do certain things to meet the kind of craving, unconscious craving, etc. Right? For a young girl, it could be like you go onto the Instagram, you know, you do certain things, right? To get your subscribers, your followers, your numbers. And there are, of course, places whereby you can get money, right? Um, sugar daddy websites. I'm not sure you've heard about that. Um, you've got websites that are the OnlyFans. I'm not sure. I just read online a couple of days ago. There is this website that it's for subscribers only, and then people who go on there are usually celebrities or not, but they kind of like do very exclusive content. It could be naked clothes, naked pictures, da 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 da. Going to get that kind of money or that kind of fame. Um, and of course, there is the internet, Bitcoin, and you know that it crashes badly, it goes up, and it's volatile. And you're right, because you talked about faith. But how does anyone live without that faith? Because faith comes difficult. If faith only goes with people who are willing, with a willing heart, and people who wants to have that faith. So what do you think about this world that we are in and that your children are in already, Ralph?
So that's why me and my wife, we try our best to keep the Christian values, right? We do our best to go to church every Sunday, and then we try to keep those values everywhere we go. Even when I coach, even when I'm hard on the kids, I will never cuss at them. I'll never talk down to them. Yeah, I'll get on them for making a mistake, but at the same time, I tell them after, win or lose, hey, it's all love. I still love you guys. I'd rather have you guys than them.
Mm.
So it's and
Does it get harder? Does it get harder because people like, you know, the generation before, they are trying to hold that kind of yardstick, right? The kind of measurement. But that kind of gets diluted, right? The kind of yardstick, the kind of standard, the standard of values, the standard of behavior, they're kind of diluted because things are just getting into you. Does it get harder?
it does. But when somebody wants something and you're at the lead, at the helm of that, then you say your standard. You say, I look at your character more than your basketball skill, because one, you're gonna represent me when you go out there, and if you do something bad, now that looks bad on me, right? So I tell them, I don't care about your basketball skills. I care more about your character, and then your basketball skills. I want to see how you treat the people around you, because that's the kind of people I want to surround myself with, people that help each other out. not just be, I'm your boss and you got to do this and do that. And it doesn't help any. It doesn't give value. It doesn't make a person feel important. Like, like I had a troop that he was slow with other sergeants, but when he came to me, I saw him get yelled at so much for the first like 3 months, right? And he just got slower and slower.
Yeah.
And I pulled him aside and I said, hey, I am not gonna yell at you because I know you don't respond well to that. But you gotta promise me one thing. You're gonna push yourself with me, and you're gonna move a lot faster, and you're gonna learn a lot quicker. He became one of the better crew members on the flatline after that. So it depends on the people they're around, right? If the person just want to yell at him, and not even try to understand, then you're giving him no value. You're treating him like just a robot. But if you make him feel important, and I always told him, hey, I need you, man. I need you to move a little bit quicker because, when we get this done, then we have more freedom to do other stuff. And just maybe we can get out of here early, so. And every time we did good on like an evaluation, I would take them out to dinner because, they did so well. They did what they had to do, and we all worked as a team. But it's like a leader, right? All these awards and accolades, you shouldn't expect them no more, especially when you're in like a supervisor position or a lead position. You shouldn't. If it comes, make sure you let your guys know it was them because they're the ones who made you look good. And I always told my guys, whenever I got any accolades, it was them. It wasn't me. It was them.
Yeah. Ralph, always good to have you. And the last part of your speech, I'm so moved, and I'm just thinking that you should be the principal of a school. What happened? All the good men out there. Ralph, and that's not kidding. You are right. Someone has got to hold the fort. Sometimes, like yourself, as a leader, it rests on the shoulders of a leader to kind of hold that standard and let the rest of the crew comes up. And I'm thinking that a lot of us need that. And I think we need that more as circumstances will tear you down. It could be the micro environment, that small little world that you're in, or it could be the larger world that you're in. It could be your colleagues, your boss. It's exactly the same reasoning, right? Your colleagues, the standard of the colleagues, the way they act in the marketplace, the kind of integrity, the kind of behavior they hold just to get the fast money versus you, right? The person who's going to like hold the fort to make sure people do things with integrity, not just do things for the fast money. I think this is the message we should promote to people, especially in a much more volatile and risky world out there. Like what we said at the beginning, the world is going to spin. It could spin more ferociously than now, definitely, because no one knows what's going to happen next year, right?
Don't know.
But like what you did say, it takes character. It takes the strength of your core, your integrity, your faith, your self-belief, and holding it to a particular standard. I really enjoy listening to you, and I'm really thinking that you should be like in a Ministry of Education. That's where it's crumbling down. So hold that fort out there, Ralph.
Yeah, try. I'll stick to coaching for now.
Yeah, Ralph, it's such a great pleasure to have you. We've got 2 shows. I hope to have you again as I go around with my other guests to talk about real things. What you and I can do in half an hour or so is always to get some light, to give some light to people through our experience, through our life. We may not be the light from God. It may not be that the true light, but light from just a word of encouragement. Someone who needs a word, um, like even what you said did encourage me. And he reminded us that there is something in us that we can always stick by. Uh, and if we stick by that strongly, thank you so much, Ralph. Another 45 minutes from you today. What a real rewarding time, Ralph. And I hope that more people tune in to our show, State of Our World, and comments below. Ralph, tell us where people can find you.
So, like social media, right? I'm on Facebook. It's
Mm,
Ralph Ave.
mm,
I'm on Instagram, AVEXNEW Junior,
mm,
JR. And I also do YouTube videos and, trying to help veterans. And I do travel videos just show my personal life. And that's also AVEXNEW Junior on YouTube. So it's mentioned Avenue Junior.
mm. Yeah.
Even with the X is more like a plus sideways.
Mm, yeah.
So
I want to ask you, hopefully we can do something together on coaching, on mentoring, on a virtual level with some Singaporean students. We'll talk about that. But I think people who tune in definitely can see, and we've interacted these months. Um, you do need a character to be that person to hold the fort and also be the leader to shine the light to show the way, right? um,
right.
and yeah, and I'm really thankful to have you on my shows. I'm really thankful to have done a series with you, the military story. So ladies and gentlemen, another shout out to Mr. Ralph Ave's series, the military stories below, if you're looking through the YouTube. And that's youtube.com/c/talk about life. And that's Mr. Ralph Ave, military stories, that he talks about his experience um, in the front line. And some of these nuances that he shared, really moving, and we can learn a lot of lessons. Thank you, Ralph. Hope to see you and your family in Singapore someday.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm very sure that Singapore is always calling people.
Yeah.
Come. Yes, Ralph.
Listen.
Yeah, I would love to see you in person with your wife and have coffee or tea here. It will be such a wonderful experience after all these months of having this conversation and building a friendship, a professional friendship over the podcast. Ralph, would you like to say goodbye for the next 5 seconds?
Yeah, I just want to appreciate, Vicky always inviting me to all these conversations. I do really enjoy it. And I do miss that spicy crab dish that you guys have over there. I'm holding
Yes,
up
the
this.
chili crab, the Singapore world famous
Yeah,
chili
chili
crab.
crab. That's what it is. Yeah.
Thank you for that shout out for Singapore. Ralph, see you again, and let's talk about some things that we can share with the world. And I'm sure there are lots of things we can share just with a word or so. You've encouraged me, and I hope that my show has encouraged you and the viewers somehow. Thank you. And it's 12 p.m. Singapore time. This is Singapore live broadcast from Singapore and from USA, California to use State of the World. You can find us, Ralph, below, and you can find the Platinum platform on Facebook and also youtube.com/c/talk about life.